Welcome to the video today, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Friend. It's time to dive in. My name's Steven. Recently, I put up a video on my Instagram talking about why scrolling through social media is good for you. You can check it out. My Instagram is in the description. So go check that out after this video if you're curious to learn more about it. It was just kind of realistically, it's just a summary of this video, but I got some other stuff on there too. I'm talking about becoming a better person that I want you to check out. So if you're interested, go check that out after this video. Let's go ahead and dive into it. So today, we're going to be talking about delayed gratification versus instant gratification and what it means to do hard work and how all this stuff works. And I guess really a dopamine detox is kind of what I want to get into. So I'm going to try to make this as short as possible, really quick, but let's go ahead and get started. So dopamine, you get rewarded for doing something good. So say, for example, even just water, right? So here's a great example. Here's my water. I take a sip of this water. It makes me feel better because I got a sip of water. My mouth, like, it's now not like dry anymore, and I feel refreshed, and I got to hit a dopamine. So now I feel a little bit better just by that sip of water. So there's many things, pretty much everything gives you dopamine. Everything you do is because you have wants, needs, and desires to do a certain activity that makes you feel a certain type of way. Another example of dopamine, and this is a delayed gratification thing, but a pump in the gym. The pump is a little bit more instant, but it's still delayed because you still have to work out. If you're a gym goer, you know this. A lot of times we go in there because we're chasing pumps, and we feel good after the workout's completed by having that pump. That is delayed gratification. So if you really want to get more into delayed gratification activities, which is ultimately better for you, and I'll explain that in this video, as short as you can make it, make it more instant. The more instant as possible. So I enjoy going to the gym because I get a pump afterwards, and I really like low-key obsess over the pump. So yeah, if you want to go to the gym more, maybe take pictures of yourself every fucking time you go to the gym. I don't do that, but you can. That's a way to do it. You can see your progress. You just want to track your progress. Well, you get it. Hit a dopamine from taking a picture of yourself. If you're like this, maybe you post it on social media. You get dopamine because you know, like, someone saw it or whatever, right? That's how dopamine works. So yeah, whenever you feel a reward, whenever you feel satisfaction, you get a hit of dopamine. The thing is, with social media and video games and TV, you get dopamine hits a lot quicker, especially with social media. It's a 30-second clip. You start the video, and this is how it works, by the way. If you've watched an entire video on Instagram Reels, which I guarantee you have, this is how the process works. It starts with a hook, value, and a reward. It literally ends with the reward. This is how Alex Ramosi talks about it in that book right there, $100 Million Leads. It starts with a hook. Here's the example of the hook. This is a little controversial, but scrolling social media is actually good for you. You're hooked in because you want to know why scrolling through social media is good for you. Then there's the value part where I actually debunk that belief, if you have that, and realize that social media is not good for you. And what's interesting is I don't think people even look at it. I certainly didn't look at it before as like, is this good or bad? I never looked at it that way. I always looked at it as like, well, this is just something I do. When you start to break down every little thing that you do, you realize that certain things are just not good for you. And social media is one of them. So I broke it down and I learned that social media is not a good thing to spend your time scrolling. So by doing these activities like scrolling through social media, playing video games, you're getting dopamine hits a lot quicker. And especially with social media, every 30 seconds you get a dopamine hit because you got the reward. You got the value from watching the video. Whether it was entertainment, it was knowledge, anything, you got value by watching that video. And the longer you stayed, the more value you got in your brain. You get thousands of dopamine hits if you scroll through thousands of videos. And then what happens is you become numb to this idea of dopamine. So when you're doing a hard activity, you don't feel as good because you're not getting as much dopamine as at once. A lot of times hard activities are not interesting. You can't have anyone in this world, I'm sure there's like no one in this world that actually runs every day, like does cardio and says, oh my gosh, I had such a great time. It sucks, you know, like it's kind of fun, but it's still like, even the gym. I like going to the gym. It gives me a pump. It's a good time, but also like it fucking sucks. So you build up a tolerance to dopamine after a while, and soon those hard activities you don't feel the same. You don't get the same hit. The reason I want to bring up a dopamine detox is because this is what helps you feel better when doing hard activities. And it'll make you want to do more of those things, and you'll end up being more productive in the long run, right? If you try to stay away from some of these instant gratification activities and you strictly focus on what's important, when you finally do get that dopamine hit after like detoxing your mind from how like it usually feels, you'll feel better, right? Say, for example, let's just trade dopamine out for nicotine. I think this is really big. Everyone has a nicotine addiction, it seems like. Say you hit your nicotine device every single day, 20 times, 30, honestly, 200 to 500 times a day. That's where we are as a society. Well, you build up a tolerance for it. You don't get a buzz. It doesn't feel good anymore. And you like hate yourself the entire time. Don't want to hit the nicotine anymore. You keep saying to yourself, I'm going to quit, as you're like buying a new one. Now imagine you go 2 or 3 days without hitting nicotine at all. And then on the third day, you get to hit your nicotine device, like your vape, or you smoke a cigarette or whatever you do. Then you get a buzz and you feel better. And I'm not going to sit here and try to say nicotine's good for you. It's not. Well, it is, but not vaping. Vaping's not good for you. Yeah, you go 3 days and then finally you hit your vape on the third day. And it's like, wow, you get a buzz now. Like, then a lot of times in that situation, you're like, keep chasing. So you like keep trying to get that buzz back. And that's what happens. If you stay away from social media for a long time and you go back to social media, you'll quickly fall back into it because and I've done this before. I've gone months at a time without having social media downloaded on my phone. And the minute I downloaded it, for days, at least 2-3 hours just scrolling. It's awful. It's awful for you. So yeah, I'm not saying like smoke nicotine or anything like that, but that's kind of the best way I can explain how it works. But the thing is, everything's nicotine, right? You get that buzz. I guess it's not nicotine. Everything gives you a buzz, right? Dopamine is the nicotine, and then the buzz is like how you feel off the dopamine. It's like very micro. You don't like notice it, but it's there. So if you try to delay that stuff and you try to stay away from instant gratification, if you stop watching TV and porn and playing video games and, just trying to have like quick one night stands, and you like focus on the harder things in life and you focus on what's important to you to better yourself and become the person God created you to become, then when the dopamine hits come from those activities, it feels 10 times better than it would have before. Here's my actionable step for this video. I hope I kind of covered it pretty well, but this is what I want you to do. Tomorrow, or whenever you have a day where you're kind of free, I would find a list of things that are instant gratification that you struggle with and try to cut all of them out for one day. Just one day. Don't do any of those activities. I'll give you some examples. So alcohol, drugs, music, video games, porn, TV, food. Obviously you can eat, but like not like snacking. That's just kind of the list I can think of. I was trying to think of more. I like sat here for like 5 minutes, but that's kind of all I got. But you can definitely do some research on it. Just look up instant gratification activities. I'm sure you can find more. Social media. I didn't say that. Wow, can't believe that. I didn't say that. So social media is another one. And just try to cut all those things out of one day. And everything that you do for that day, do something that would contain a progress bar is what I like to use. A book, for example, if you open up a book, it's like a progress bar, right? So here's the book I'm reading right now. Really good book. I'd recommend it. I just started, but Stephen Bartlett is a guy from the UK that has a podcast. And this is his book, 33 Laws of Business and Life. And I just started a couple days ago, or like literally yesterday, I think. But this has a progress bar. Like you can see how far I am. I'm like 39 pages in, and there's 300 pages. So a book's a great thing to do during that time. Getting some work done that you have to get done. If you're in school, I know the semester's over, but if you're watching this in 6 months, do something productive with your time. Do some homework. Go to the gym. Go on a run. And if you don't know what to do, just sit quietly and silent and just think. And it's beautiful, really, how that can help you so much. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just to kind of give you a basic rundown again. Dopamine detox is when you cut out instant gratification activities and do things that take a long time to get gratification from. Once you cut the levels of dopamine that you get in your normal day out of your life, then you will feel better when you do harder activities because you don't get as much dopamine. Instant gratification is any activity that makes you feel good in the moment, like drinking, drugs, TV, video games, anything that makes you feel good right now and keeps you distracted. And then delayed gratification is anything that you're doing to work on a long-term goal, and that's something that, right in the moment when you first do it, you're not going to feel good about it, but at the end you'll feel good. Right, running a marathon, you don't feel good at the beginning, but at the end you'll feel a lot more accomplished than you would have scrolling through social media. Going to the gym is the same way. Doing work, it's the same way. So that's just kind of my quick rant for the day on how this works. I needed to make this video because I put an Instagram reel up about it. So, and in the text I was like, oh, I guess I have to make a video, and I'm about to make that video right now. So Yeah, check out my Instagram. There's gonna be a lot of cool content on there. I'm gonna be posting on there a lot more because I want to make things short, quick. Because again, instant gratification. People aren't willing to sit here. Like if you're willing to sit through this entire video, you can do a dopamine detox because like 90% of people did not watch this entire video. And if you're here, then you want to make a change in your life and be better. So then fix it. Stop doing instant gratification activities. Honestly, don't even follow me on Instagram. Like, I mean, you can. Like, I don't want to tell you not to, but I'm not trying to get like your views or like any of that stuff. I want to help you out. And if you're constantly scrolling through the gram, it's not going to help you. And that's another thing too. Just because you follow accounts like mine or like maybe Alex Hormozy or Stephen Bartlett or any other big entrepreneur, YouTuber, big business guy, anyone that's going to give you some quality information on a reel does not mean that it's good for you. Like you can cope all day and say like, oh yeah, if I'm watching Steven's videos or if I'm watching Alex Hormozy, if I'm watching Hamza, it's okay. Like, no, bro. Like that's not how that works. It's still instant gratification. So cut it out of your life. Stop scrolling through social media. It's bad for you. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.